Chris, just first, how are you feeling and just getting back out there today, playing? How have the last few how's the weekend with some at-bats you've been taking? How are you feeling prepared for tonight?
I feel really good. I feel like I'm in a good spot. I got some live at-bats before the game started, and I feel like I'm in a good place, so I'm excited.
Did you say that you're like at 100% right now? Or?
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay, next question. We're going to go far right over there, Dave.
Chris, so many of your teammates and yourself have had postseason experience in the biggest of games. As this series goes deeper, do you feel like that's a tangible advantage for you guys?
I don't know. I mean, yeah, I think the experience definitely helps, just, having a bunch of guys that have been there every year, and we know what it takes, and, just having an experienced group. But I think at the end of the day, we just have a good baseball team, and we're just focused on doing our job and each guy doing their part. And I think we know if we play the way we're capable of, things will take care of themselves.
Okay, going to go straight in the back to Bill.
Yeah, Chris, were you available for games 1 and 2 health-wise, and were you surprised when when Dave didn't use you as a pinch hitter?
Yeah, I was available. I'm 100%. Like I've been saying, I'm ready to go. And I'm always expecting it. I think you have to have a mentality when you go into it that you're getting the at bat. If you don't, and then you're really not prepared. So every potential situation that I could come in off the bench, I'm fully expecting to get that at bat.
Okay, in the back here on the left.
Chris, when the neck issue first popped up, how concerned were you that this wouldn't be possible getting back for this?
No, I mean, when it happened, it was more just unfortunate timing because I was coming off a really good game. I had 3 hits, and I felt I all like middle of the field, right to right field, which I hadn't done that in a while, and it felt really good. I was finally like doing what I wanted to in the box, and the timing of it was just unfortunate, like a week before postseason games, and but like I said, it was more just having to get those at bats right before, and understanding that kind of fighting to be in there right now. That was unfortunate, but I'm 100%. I'm good to go. So.
Okay, down the middle, Jack.
Were you able to get that feel back with your swing during the sim game situations, or is part of that you don't know for sure until you get into an actual game like tonight?
Yeah, no, the first sim game we had, I think it was a Sunday, there was a little bit of that anxiousness again, just not seeing pitching in a week. It just takes a few pitches and a few swings to get comfortable, and then I kind of realized, I have more time than I thought. And then once I, put a few balls in play, I felt really good. And Monday I got some at-bats, and those went really well. So.
And then just watching from the side, the way that they've attacked you guys just as a whole so far, is there anything surprising or unexpected or just that you've picked up on? Dave's kind of talked about, it seems like they're maybe emphasizing just a lot of spin and secondary stuff. What did you notice from the first 2 games there?
I haven't noticed anything super obvious. It might be, me not being in the lineup. I might not notice some things that other guys notice, actually, like being in the box hitting. Yeah, like I said, like I'm down in the cage and I'm like just staying loose and hitting and stuff. So there might be some things I missed, but no, I think they're just they're playing good baseball. You can see that right now. I would say they're playing their best baseball of the year since we've played them. So we understand this is a good team, and we got to bring our A game.
Okay, we're gonna go there in the middle, Fabio.
Yeah, Chris, have you been able to pinpoint what it is specifically you've been trying to work through with your swing overall this year?
I mean, there's so many. It's a long season. That's such a broad question of right now I'm in a good spot. I'll just say that, and I feel like I can at this point in time, I can actually do what I'm wanting to do, and that's use the whole field, hit the ball gap to gap. And throughout the year, I was really having trouble doing that.
And then you said earlier that sort of coming into last postseason, like right before you sort of found something in your swing that worked. What do you remember? Like what that was and when that was? Was it sort of like the day of the wild card game? Like when did you sort of?
Last year it was actually the wild card game. I felt terrible, but that was just one of those things, and I just one swing can kind of lock you back in, and obviously that's huge for like your confidence going forward when you come up with a big hit like that going into the Giants series, and I'm sure that played a part in me feeling more comfortable and better mechanically as well. But yeah, I mean, I remember what the adjustments I made going into that Giants series that kind of got me going. But I wish it was as simple as like, oh, this worked for me then, now it's going to work for me. And that's just not the case. Like, your swing evolves and changes. And a lot of the times the things that get you locked in are the same things that eventually get you in a slump, and you kind of have to revert. So it's just constantly making adjustments. And I don't even want to go into what I did last year because it doesn't matter.
Okay. Far left here, Bryce.
Yeah, Chris, you guys have dominated the matchups with the Padres so much in the last few years that even though when you'd come in there'd be energy at Petco Park, but maybe it was muted for a lot of the game. Now they win the Mets series in New York. They win Game 2 in L.A. What are your expectations of the environment tonight, which may be different than any time you guys have played here?
Yeah, no, I think it's probably going to be the best environment the loudest environment we've ever seen here. We know they're going to be excited coming off a win 1-1 playoff series. Like, this is arguably like the biggest games they've had here in a really long time. So I know it's going to be loud and it's going to be fun.
Okay. Stay here on the left, Mike.
Hey, CT. Blake Snell the other day said that Game 6 of the 2020 World Series was probably the best he's ever pitched. I don't think you were too familiar with him going into that series. Now that he's with the Padres, you've seen him a lot over the last 2 years. How does that help you going into this matchup, seeing him tonight? And then is it a situation where if he's locked in and just in the zone, is he that tough again?
I mean, I think experience facing a pitcher, anytime you can get that. I've always thought it's an advantage for the offense. The more you face a guy, the more experience you have, I think the advantage goes to the hitters. Maybe that's my biased opinion, being a hitter, but I think it just gives the offense chances to make adjustments, and I'm sure pitchers could make similar arguments, but just having that familiarity. And I can't remember the second part of that question.
Is the familiarity something that you think would outweigh if he was like locked in?
Oh, yeah, no, I mean, he's got really good stuff. So, he's always tough. I think he's had some success off us all year. He has 4+ pitches. So it's just a matter of sort of grinding them out and battling with them.
Okay, is that it? All right. Thanks a lot, Chris.
Yeah.
Hey, Evan, just heading into Game 3 with a split series, whether it's the mindset or if there's a specific approach for you guys, how are you guys kind of just feeling heading into these 2 games here in San Diego?
I think everyone's pretty relaxed. I think I'm just going to echo what I've said the past few days, is that we're going to take things one day at a time. There's no pressure in our clubhouse right now. Everyone's pretty free, pretty loose. It just feels like another game.
Next question. Okay, far right, Dave.
Evan, Chris was just in here, and he said he believes the Padres are playing their best baseball of the season. In that first game when you came in for the 6th inning, could you sense that as well? Their at-bats, are they the best that you've experienced so far this year, especially after just seeing them in September?
Yeah, you could say that, but I think we see everyone's best. Every time you play the Dodgers, I think there's always it's an elevated game against the Los Angeles Dodgers. So I think us seeing the Padres so much this year, we always want to win these big games. So I think it being the playoffs, obviously these games mean just a little bit more. But I think you see that from everybody across the board. I think, the effort level is just increased, as a whole across the board.
Okay, Jack in the middle.
Evan, just given kind of, you guys don't have a lot of like defined roles with the way the bullpen's set up right now. Like going into every game, like how much of an idea do you kind of usually have about who you might be facing or when you might be pitching, and kind of how do you just go through the process of preparing for that each night?
Our staff does a great job of communicating what might be expected of us, each and every night. So I think, on a day-to-day basis, they approach us with, maybe a stretch of hitters or a line of innings that they're expecting out of us. And they do a great job of letting us know early enough to where we can prepare in the bullpen. And even if they don't, even if for whatever reason they haven't communicated that message, each of us has a good feel for, what the starting pitcher is doing and, when we need to prepare and how we need to move around and get ready to go in and pitch.
Not every bullpen might be able to kind of handle, that sort of setup. Like, why do you think you guys have been able to adjust to it and kind of succeed with the way it's kind of shaped up here?
I think we've somewhat done it this way all season. Unfortunately, we lost, Blake early and Daniel Hudson shortly after that. So outside of the ninth inning early in the year, we didn't really have defined roles, and it was just, again, going out there and getting the guys out that we were called upon for. So I think, the nature of what our bullpen has done this whole season, everyone's somewhat just bought into that idea of, when the phone rings and your name is called, you go out there and you get your outs.
Okay, we're going to go here to the left, Jim.
Hey, Evan, given the circumstances after losing Game 2, how helpful is the game off, not only, or the day off yesterday, not only from a bullpen standpoint, but just overall team standpoint?
The travel was brutal, you could say, coming down from Los Angeles. No,
brutal for us, too.
There was some traffic, but besides that, it's just a nice reset button. I think the idea of the off day is to allow everyone to even the playing field a little bit for both sides. So, that being said, we're all going to come out here hopefully fresh and hopefully refreshed and re-energized and ready to win a ball game.
Okay, we go down the middle, Fabio.
Yeah, Evan, everyone kind of talks about like the game planning that you guys do as a staff. How different is the sort of game planning dossiers that they sort of give you before a series different from like different places you've been?
It's hard for me to really expand on that because, in my, prior organizations, Baltimore, we didn't really have as many defined roles. It was more so who's available to pitch that night. It's much different with a winning ball club that's got the idea of winning the World Series. So this is the first time I've really experienced anything like this, but just as a baseball fan and watching games, growing up, it felt like there was always that 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th inning guy. But I think, the Dodgers have kind of invented this new way of approach to a bullpen, you could say. And I think you've seen it work for us, most of the season. And it's just a more, I guess, like a focused approach on getting certain hitters out and understanding, what pitcher may have an advantage over those guys, each and every night.
How much did you get used to pitching and leverage? Just you having to slow down the moment, sort of anticipating everything that sort of comes with it, especially in this environment?
My mindset has been, something I've had to develop, over the course of my entire pitching career, all the way from high school through college. There have been moments where I would let situations or, the score dictate, my emotions for that inning. And it was just a very unhealthy, process for me. So allowing myself to, hit zero every single time and go out there with just a baseline mentality every single inning, no matter what inning it is, has really helped with those leverage innings.
Okay, down in front, Mike.
Hey, Evan. Your starting pitcher tonight, Tony Gonsolin, reminds me a little of you in the sense that, he's been around the game for a while, but this year in particular, they put the pieces together and they're having a career season. So on the opposite side, Blake Snell is a former Cy Young Award winner. Historically, has been very good. When it comes to that matchup in the postseason, does recent success and having a great year roll over, or is having historically multi-year success? How do you think that plays out?
I think both of them can go hand in hand. What Blake Snell has done across his career is very commendable, and I think the Padres would expect to get some of that here tonight. And, same goes for the Dodgers with us, with Tony. He's had a career season, like you said, and we expect to get the best out of him as well.
Okay. Anything else for Evan? All right, thanks, Evan.